Good morning and happy Tuesday 10 at 10. I am your host and bakery influencer, Richard Charpentier, and every Tuesday we get together to answer questions that you, the bakers, sent. So, without further ado, let's get started with our questions today. Our first question is regarding enzymes and how do you test the potency of an enzyme, and are there any enzymes that work best with certain types of flour? So it's an excellent question regarding whether or not there is a way to test for the potency of an enzyme. There is really nothing to that matter that you can do, unless of course you have equipment such, if you're looking to see if your texture gets better for shelf life, for example, then you can have a texture analyzer machine which will sort of validate. So in a simple answer, no, there's no real way unless you do proper analytical equipment and a team that can validate and double check to the potency of it. And regardless of that, enzymes are also present in high amount in your flour that you're using. So it makes it very, very difficult to pinpoint and see what works and what does not work. And regarding the whether or not some enzymes work better for flour, amylases, which is what the flour is mostly composed of. 80% of flour is starch, so amylases are good at doing that. And each vendor sells, you have the alpha, beta amylase, you have different amylases. So it's really to look and check with your ingredient vendor to see what would be the best. But thank you very much for sending that question. Now, for our second question today, someone wants to know what is the acceptable coliforms range on food surface contact. Coliforms are a bacteria that is found on the surface of food, and that can, if ingested in high amount, have the potential to make people sick. So in simple answer, based on a GMP, good manufacturing practices, you have to have zero coliforms. And in food preparation, it's very important to ensure that there's no level that does say, hey, it's okay, we can have bacteria on the surface of your working station, and so it doesn't work like that. So sorry to say, but no, there's nothing that can, it is zero. So for last question of the day, someone wants to know, how do you measure the water content, and is it from percent of the water input compared to all of the other ingredients and after the dough is formed? So if you do not have any analytical machine such as a moisture meter where you can figure out what's the moisture of your finished baked product, so the other approach to doing so is by calculating, and each ingredients, for example, flour contains roughly 14% moisture. So if you start doing the math and add all moistures from all of the ingredients you're using, you'll be able to, plus the extra moisture you're putting in, you'll be able to understand roughly how much moisture you're starting with. And then if you weigh a piece of dough at the beginning and after bake, you weigh that same finished baked piece of dough or bread, then you'll see the differential in moisture, and that's your moisture loss. And if you started with a certain amount of moisture to start with and you ended up there, you sort of can get very close to your total moisture content in your product. That's the way I would approach it. And, if you don't have the machine to measure it for you, that would be, the best way to do it. So thank you very much for watching Tuesday 10 at 10. I will see you next week for more questions. Take care and happy baking.